It's time for another video tutorial. I'm going to do this a little bit differently than I usually do. I'm going to gloss over the stuff that I've already taught you guys in the previous videos to avoid making this video super long. I'm going to speed through it, and then when I get to the part where I'm actually programming the gun shooting, I'm going to slow down and walk you through it. Also today I'm using Espresso-C instead of Xcode to speed things along quicker and make it easier to share the code with you guys so that it just runs without screwing with frameworks. Here we go. Alright, now we're ready to do the bullet programming. Just to catch you guys up, we are using a different tool than I'm used to using normally in my videos. We're using Espresso-C today instead of Xcode. I'm using this just because it runs the C code immediately without dealing with frameworks, and when I send you guys these example files, you'll be able to run them without having to worry about which version of Xcode you're on and so forth. The other thing I want to mention is, unlike last time, I'm using Sprite Sheets, where I combine the sprites into one single sheet, and then I just copy from a different region, depending on which animation frame that I want to draw, in the SDL render copy method. I'm just going to scroll to that and show you guys that. So I have a current sprite item in my structure, or variable in my structure, and that number is updated depending on which animation sprite I want to show while he's running or standing. And I use that sprite to just, as a multiple of 40, which is the width of each animation frame, to pick which source rectangle I'm copying from when I render copy X to draw the guy on the screen. So real quick, I'm going to run this and show you guys it's going to fail. And the reason why it fails is because it basically cannot find the animation sheet. And the reason why I want to show you guys that is, in order to run these examples, you need to set the working directory in Espresso-C to the folder that contains the assets. And then once you do that, everything will run just fine. So this is kind of where we are right now. It's a funny little Contro game. Notice the folder is called Contro, not to be confused with anything else that you might think it might resemble. And I just have a static background right now. It doesn't scroll because the focus on this tutorial is the shooting animation and the shooting programming, not side scrolling. I covered that in the other video, and you're more than welcome it's funny to watch the other videos to learn about that aspect. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to make this get a little bit interesting. We are going to add another structure, and this one's going to be called bullet. There will be many of these, and they will also have an X and a Y position, and that's basically all they're going to have, at least that I can think of right now. And the reason why this is interesting is this is the first time we've dealt with essentially dynamically, or yeah, you can think of it as dynamically adding elements to a game that aren't already there in the first place. And there are many different ways to do this, and some of them are really confusing, and some of them are rather complicated to do in C. So the simplest way that I'm going to handle this is I'm going to use an array. And the array is basically going to be a pointer to the number of bullets, or to the array of bullets, but it's really actually going to be an array of pointers, and that's a way for me to know if a bullet is in use. And then we're going to define up here the maximum number of bullets that can be on the screen at once, and I think 1,000 is going to be more than enough. So now that we basically have an array of max bullets, pointers to bullets, we can essentially use that as our mechanism for adding and removing bullets at will to the game. So real quick, I'm going to add a couple functions to deal with these. One's going to be called add bullet, and the other one's going to be called remove bullet. And I'm going to process the bullets inside my other method, which is just called update logic. But this is going to be the mechanisms that we use to add bullets. And I'm going to add each bullet at a position and a delta x, which is basically whether it's flying, its speed in the x direction. And remove bullet's not going to do anything except the index of the bullet that you want to remove. So, and that index is going to be the index into the array. So if it's the 100th bullet, you're removing the 100th bullet, and so forth. So the way I'm going to handle this is when I want to add a bullet, I'm just going to find the first available bullet. I am not at all contesting that this is the most efficient way to do this. It's just the simplest way to do it to teach people. And to be honest with you, a lot of the games I wrote when I first learned how to do C a while back, I used this mechanism for, and they ran just fine until I graduated to the more advanced data structures way of programming games. So basically what I'm doing here is I am finding the first null pointer, which means essentially available bullet, and I am making note of that bullet so I can use it. The prerequisite for this is that they all start out null. And this is a little trick in C that if you set an array equal to curly braces, I guess you could say inline definition or literal of the array, if the first one, if you only set it to 1 and that one's 0, all of them get set to 0. So I'm just going to use that little shortcut up there, make sure that they're all initially null. So down here in my add bullet, as soon as I found one, I break out of the loop, and it jumps down here. And assuming I really found one, remember it starts out -1 up here, I use it. And this is pretty simple. I just basically do bullets. Actually, not so simple. I malloc enough memory for a bullet, and that dynamically allocates the bullet structure. And then I set the properties of the bullet. And that basically sets the bullet in motion, or it will when I process it. Removing a bullet's quite simple as well, since the array doesn't change size. So basically this one's actually quite simple. Little sanity check to make sure I'm removing a bullet that really is there. And in that case, I just free the bullet. And then of course, it's really important I make sure I set it to null when I'm done. This little check of removing each bullet and setting it to null should be ran at the very end of the program to make sure all the memory is given out. So I'm just going to do did I do num bullets or max bullets? I think I did max. That's funny. I don't feel like retyping found a bunch of times, so I'm just going to do this. Alright, so we got everything set up. I know the program didn't change. So we're basically ready to add bullets to the scene. We need to process them when they have been added, and the way I'm going to do that is inside update logic. For I equals 0, I less than max bullets, I plus plus. Little special if statement check up here if the bullet that we are interested in is active. We do bullets x plus equal bullets dx for the current bullet. And this for loop right here processes every single bullet in the scene or in the game, which is exactly what we want to do. We just want to move the bullet. And to get the bullets back, this is important. If we shoot them all up and they never are reclaimed, that kind of is stupid. So the idea here is if the bullet's x is less than some amount that we know is off the screen, or greater than some amount that we know is off the screen, then we just basically give it back by calling move bullet I. And that'll take care of that little aspect for us. So there's the bullets. We actually haven't loaded the bullet texture yet. and I'm going to go ahead and do that real quickly. This is going to be a very simple texture. It's really small. I hope the graphics hardware can handle an 8x8 image. I know that it can be finicky sometimes. So bullet texture, just real quickly getting that going. Did I just do something stupid? I almost did something stupid. Sheet, background, bullet. Okay, I didn't do anything stupid. At least not yet, until I run it and it crashes, and then I know I did. Let's quickly run this. I did do something stupid. There's an OR statement up there. It's got a problem with it, and that's because I actually forgot to put greater than there. That's not at all what I was expecting. What did I think I screwed up the background. I think I screwed up a lot of things. What did I do? It wouldn't be a video tutorial with you guys unless I didn't make a mistake while I was recording. I think it's this. I seem to load the sheet texture twice. Sheet, texture load, background. This is not necessary. This is. I really screwed this up. There we go. Okay. Bullets all loaded, ready to go. Now the only thing we need to do is add a key for him to shoot, and that's going to be the space key. So basically, if, I'm just going to copy one of these existing scan code checks, leave this as space. We're not going to let him shoot while jumping, so that little check there is actually perfect. Else, I need an else in there too. Basically, we're just going to have something called man shooting. I don't even know if we're going to need it, but it's just heartwarming to know that it's there in case I need it. And if he's shooting, we are going to cycle him through a different set of sprites, which is really just the 4th and the 5th sprite. So let's go ahead and take care of that. Yeah. Let's see. This is pretty simple, I think. I just basically do if his current sprite's 4, his current sprite becomes 5, otherwise it's back to 4. Takes care of that, and we reset it to 4 if he's not shooting at all, with the special caveat, which is really important, that he's also not walking. As a matter of letting him shoot while walking, I'm not going to worry about that yet. Because we don't have any animation sprites for him shooting while walking currently, which is a pain. I thought I had this ready to go, but apparently I don't. Yeah, just add a printf in here. So if space, so he should be appearing as he's shooting, but he's not. I think it has to do with this crap up here. I think these are resetting his animation frame. One thing I really am starting to realize that I need to add to Espresso-C is auto indent. Because this is not going to fly. Reasons that I don't understand, he's still not shooting. He's 4, he's 5, otherwise he's 4. Just see what his current sprite is. It's not getting in here at all. Oh, it's the DY crap. Let me just get rid of that for a second. There he goes. Now he's shooting. I guess I'm going to have to let him shoot while he's jumping because I don't want to screw around with this anymore. It's not yet. Okay, so as you can see, the animation for his sprite animation for shooting is working, which is pretty funny. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually emit the bullets from his current position when he's actually shooting. So every time I swap the frame, which is basically right here, I also want to emit a bullet. So I got my trusty add bullet method. And I believe the only thing that I had this take was X, Y, and DX. So if he's facing to the right, I'm going to add a bullet at his current X position, at his current Y position, plus 5, I guess. This is probably actually going to be plus 40. Let's do like 15. And this DX is going to be 3. And let's see what happens. Nothing, because I don't draw the bullets yet. That was stupid. Let's draw the bullets. Here's a little check for this. I think that's where I want it to be. This is a pretty simple render copy call, just like with the background texture. But basically, I'm using the bullet texture as what I'm drawing. Copy the full source rectangle, but the destination rectangle is the size of the bullet, which I believe I had set to be 8 by 8. And at the bullet position. Let's give that a try. We still don't see any bullets. Let's try the old trusty printf check. My guess is there's nothing in here. Yep. And that's because add bullet never got ran, probably. Let's do a little check here. So it did get set, but it seems to keep finding the same bullet over and over again. Programming is one of those things where it definitely takes trial and error. It's one of the reasons why I try not to edit out too many of these problems when I'm recording these videos for you guys. I0, item max bullets, I++, if it's null, found is I. Found is greater than 0, I is found, bullets I equals malloc. I must be removing it immediately. No. Well, I remove them at the end. That makes a lot of sense. Why do I keep finding 0 over and over again? What's going on here? Found is I. I don't get this. I could have sworn that I'm removing these things. I always break my own rules and do the same debugging test more than once, even though I know it's not true. Found, malloc. Well, one funny thing is that it actually says greater than 0 here. It should be greater than or equal to 0, so I'll probably at least... Hey, it worked. Oh, I get it. If it's 0, I wasn't even doing anything at all. So that actually pretty much is exactly what I was expecting. So now all I got to do is adjust the initial position for the bullet. The initial position's close. Plus 40 is a little too much, maybe 35, and 20 here. That's perfect. So we actually have him shooting bullets. We don't have him shooting to the left yet, simply because I just didn't program it. So I already got him looking to the right and shooting. Now I'm going to have him look to the left while he shoots with a simple else statement. Oh, that's going to look really stupid. Hold on. It needs to be -3 when he's... Kill him, kill him. This is fun. All right, this is great. Basically, I have him shooting. I don't have any sound effects yet. I probably won't do those for this video. I kind of want to have a guy get killed. I hope I have enough time for that. Yeah, I think I do. The video is running long, but it's really no point having bullets in the game unless you have someone to kill with them. So I'm going to go ahead. That was dumb. And I'm going to reuse my man structure as kind of a quick enemy who's just not going to move and stand there and die. And I'm going to go ahead and set that up right now. If I could find my declaration of man. Oh, he's down here in the non-global space because I was more conscious when I made him. I'm going to go ahead and break the rule of programming and just make the enemy global up here. I feel like in Espresso-C this is more okay because it's quick and dirty testing and not production code. So man enemy is declared up there. And I'm going to initialize him just like I do man with some things. First thing is I want his X to be over to the right of the screen. I want his Y to be already at, what did I stop him at? 80, 65, my fake ground. It should be inside my process update logic, 60. And I'm going to set his current sprite to 4. He is facing left. And the most important part is he's going to have a different sprite sheet because he's going to have the evil one, this one. So, and this one also has like a really bad explosion animation at the end I'm going to use for when you hit him. So, where am I here? Sheet texture for the man. I'm just going to basically reuse this section of code here. I call that bad man sheet. That covers that, I think. Quick one to make sure I didn't break anything. I did, because I definitely put the man in the right instead of the enemy. That was dumb. I always like to run my code at least every couple changes to make sure I didn't break anything. So now all you need to do is draw the enemy, which is pretty simple. Here's my drawing of the man. I don't see it. There it is. This is kind of a hacky situation here because I'm passing the man in via pointer, but I just went ahead and made the enemy global. You know, you can't hold me responsible for this. I just want to see the end result at this point. I think it should be enough to get the enemy to at least show up on the screen, unless I would have... Oh. Ah, crap. I'll just put E for enemy here. He's just off the right of the screen, which is not acceptable. I want you to be able to see him get shot. So, do that. There he is. He looks like he wants to get killed. So, let's go ahead and add collision detection for him to blow up, and that'll essentially be the end of it. One variable I'm going to need here is called alive, because I don't want him to be able to die more than once. It's not going to make any sense. I'm going to set those here. And all we need to do at this point is check each bullet position for collision detection against the guy inside our update logic method. So I already have a bullet check here. And all I need here is basically very simple collision detection between the enemy and the bullet. So if bullet's eye X is greater than the enemy X, and the bullet's so small I can almost consider it to be a point, so I can kind of do the point in box test, which is a lot easier than a bounding box collision. It's all relative, I guess. So I got the check for X's. I'll do a quick check for Y overlapping. Y is greater than the enemy Y. What was he? 50 height, I believe. This is going to be a little bit of a big bounding box, but like I said, this is all just a proof of concept. If that's all true, enemy dead 1, and if the enemy's dead, nothing can stop us from changing this sprite to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Oops. If the enemy's dead, if enemy current sprite is less than 6, his sprite is 6, else if the sprite is greater than or equal to 6, at this point we will cycle him through the remaining animations that he has, stopping at 7, which is really just 2, but I like to be smart about this. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if it's greater than 7, it stays 7. Really, at this point, I should have one that just has him completely off the screen to make him, like, poof away. But I could do that in just a second. One thing I want to do is I don't want this animation to run too quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in my check against every 6 frames from my other code down to here. Oops, I actually want this to be up here. That covers that. And I suppose I could make him disappear using a visible check. Where's that enemy struct at? Oh, it's up here. I use a state variable called visible. I'm initially going to set it to 1. Same thing with the enemy. And we were only going to draw things that are visible. So in my draw method, should be the last thing we do for the Contro style machine gun shooting tutorial. Thought I had one. Oh. Dead. There is no dead. There's only alive 0. He's dead. I want to see it again. So basically, we're done, guys. I have the machine gun shooting animation, a guy that can't do anything, and you can shoot at him, and then he blows up. Thanks for watching, everybody, and if you want to check out Espresso-C, all you have to do is search for it on the Mac App Store. That's the end of this tutorial. Bye.